Hello, internets! Delayed hand wavy thing. How are you today? It's been a while since we've had a podcast on the video and the audio and such, but we're back and we are here with some great news to share with you today. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Mr. Troy Dunn. Say hello, Troy.
Hello, Troy.
And that joke never gets old. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Today we are talking about how to send your experiment to the edge of space, and we have quite a cool way to do it that we're very proud of. And without further ado, change that slide and let's talk about Exploralab, short for Exploration Laboratory. We not only have created this program, but we are also running a Kickstarter campaign right this very second. So Troy, tell us a little bit about Exploralab and specifically about the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, first, just to clarify what you see on your screen there, this is not about how to donate space imagery. We've talked about that recently in one of our podcasts and just missed that on our slide to update. But what we are talking about, as you said, is Exploralab, and right now we're running a Kickstarter campaign to help us raise the funds to get this off the ground, as it were. The Exploralabs essentially are a rocket-shaped payload carrier. They are sustainably 3D printed, and we intend to send 50 of these with the general public's experiments up about 100,000 feet on a high-altitude balloon. And as it climbs into the upper atmosphere, it will experience extreme changes in the temperature, the pressure, the solar radiation, and essentially kind of mimics the same sort of things that you would find in actual space. From this height, if you were up there, you could see the black of space as well as the curvature of Earth. It's roughly 4 times the height that a commercial airliner would fly. So it's definitely pretty high up there. It's much higher than most people will probably travel in their lifetimes. So that's kind of the start of it. We're working with a couple of other organizations. Adam, maybe you can talk about who we're working with to get this mission going.
Sure. So you see these acronyms here. That was mostly for space considerations on the slide, but if you check out EOSS online, it stands for Edge of Space Sciences. So as you can probably tell, they're a great partner for this mission, since the whole idea is to send these experiments to the edge of space. Specifically, they are experts in launching high-altitude balloons, and they operate here in Colorado, where SpaceUnited is also headquartered. So we have a launch scheduled with them September 13th of this year, which is a Saturday coming up in the fall, and we're going to go out there early in the morning and launch 50 of these Exploralabs, and we want these 50 to be yours, as well as by students in the area as well, which we'll get to in a second. Also helping us out, one of our partners from the very inception of the organization back in 2012 is the Metro State University of Denver, or MSUD as you see here. They are a university, as you can tell, in Denver, actually right in the heart of downtown Denver. And we've worked with their professors, their department chair, their students, and we're going to be working with all of those individuals as we continue to develop this mission. Specifically, they're going to help us out with a quote-unquote mothership, basically the container for these 50 Exploralabs. The balloon is a very open-air type of setup, so unlike like a rocket where you have the propellant and the system to light it and to burn it sort of contained in the lower parts of the compartment, the balloon is basically tethered to your payload, and so there's not sort of a prefabricated compartment that sends whatever it is that you're sending, like kind of like a payload bay in a rocket, if you've seen those online. So it's up to us to create not only these experiments and the payloads carriers that you see in front of you, but also the carrier to bring those all up safely. But we also want to do it in such a way that the experiments have as much exposure to the elements as possible, because that's the whole point of having the type of experiment that we're doing. So we want them to feel the pressure change and temperature and solar radiation, like Troy mentioned. So MSUD students and professors in the aerospace department in general is going to help us with that. And then lastly, and we feel like really importantly, maybe even most importantly, part of the mission is dedicated to working with underprivileged students that are focused on STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And primarily we're targeting high school students, although it is available to grade school, middle school, and college students. But the idea is to give them not only an aerospace project, but specifically a hands-on one. So it's great to read books and use computer software, but it's our belief that it's invaluable to be able to put something in one of these carriers and send it up to the edge of space to see how it handles that environment and to see what happens, and to understand what the flight does in terms of the trajectory, and then at the end, I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but the coolest part of it is you get your experiment back at the end as well as the carrier, so you can see the results of your experiment firsthand, which is a really valuable part of the experience. So Troy, if you would, let's go ahead and walk through the Kickstarter page just to show people what's there, and then maybe talk a little bit about how the perks work.
Sure. Let me just hop over there. So here we are on the Kickstarter page. You can get there by going to Kickstarter and doing a search for Explorer Lab. You should be able to find us, or Space United would also probably get you there. So far we've got 16 backers. We've got 24 days to go, and are a little bit over 10% of our goal. So we definitely have a ways to go, and lots of good perks still available out there for you. The donations or pledges can start at the $1 level, and everybody that donates at that level will be publicly thanked on our website. And then it hops up to a $10 level. You get a personal thank you letter from us. $25 level, you get a limited edition launch poster from Colorado artist Anthony Cozy. Spoke with him this morning about what that poster is going to look like. Sounds like it's going to be a screen printed poster, which adds a little art value to it, and will definitely be a unique limited print edition kind of thing. So that's what you can get at the $25 level. We mentioned before the $75 level gets you your own Explorer Lab. So that'll give you the opportunity to create your own experiment and send it to the edge of space, and then get that experiment back, and then the Explorer Lab is yours to keep as a souvenir. At the $100 level, you get an Explorer Lab, and a second Explorer Lab is donated in your name to some kind of STEM student group. So not only will you get to send an experiment, but you'll be helping somebody else send an experiment as well. And then at the $200 level, it's similar to the $100 level. You get an Explorer Lab. Somebody else gets an Explorer Lab, but then you also get an invitation to the launch, so you can come out and join us as we launch the Balloon and Explorer Labs in Colorado. And it's a great way, as Adam said, to participate in edge of space science. And if you aren't already participating in space exploration, it's a great way to get started. So again, that's on Kickstarter, and you can go over there and make a donation anytime. You can find the specifications of how everything will be shipped, and the schedule, the size of the Explorer Labs, what kind of temperatures and solar radiation and so on you'll experience. And then, what we hope to do if we're able to meet our funding goal and then go beyond it. And you probably already know that we are a nonprofit in the state of Colorado, and our mission is to improve lives through space exploration. And funding for this mission beyond our goal will help improve the product for a number of levels as we get past that number. But then beyond that, funding will help go to our general operations so that we can do other things like the satellite imagery that we mentioned before, and um, and other great things from there. So, um,
All right. Well, I just wanted to add a couple things before we move on to our sponsors.
sure.
Specifically, I just wanted to mention that, as you probably saw as Troy was scrolling through the Kickstarter page, and you don't have to go back, Troy, but there are some useful tools, a really cool infographic, as well as some additional written content at the bottom, just with all the details of things in terms of what you can send and what you can't send, and how it all works. And so if you are hearing this and your interest is piqued, but you don't remember all the details, it's all there for you, both in visual and text form. So be sure to check that out. And then I often have the question when I myself back other Kickstarter projects in terms of where's the money going, and how did you come up with that funding goal, and those sorts of things. So in our case, $5,000 is our goal, and it really is the bare minimum in order to be able to send up your experiments. So we're working with EOSS, and we have a price and a fee agreed with them to go ahead and do that service. And then additional to that, we have costs for a 3D printer that'll allow us to very cheaply print the Explorer Labs moving forward. So there is a bit of an investment in our company as part of that. And then just the cost of shipping them to you, which is included in the price of your perk, whether it's the $75, $100, or $200 level. And then in general, while we're only doing 10, and when I say only because our goal is to do more than that in the future, but we're doing 10 donations of Explorer Labs to the STEM education groups, either through the $100 or the $200 level. Our goal moving forward is to create price points that are very affordable, that anyone can purchase to be able to either buy just their own Explorer Lab or buy and donate. And we're big proponents of the current sort of economic trend of products that allow you to both buy your own version of the product as well as donate to those in need. And we want to make sure that that's sustainable moving forward, so that we can try to do that on a one-to-one basis rather than the 4-to-1 that we're doing now for this campaign. So we just wanted you to know sort of where our head's at with that, and that we really are cutting costs where we're able to in order to bring you the most affordable product. But if you're interested in specifics in terms of what we're planning to do with some of the stretch goals, feel free to check that out in the content on the page.
Great, yeah. And just another note to that, our first versions of the Explorer Lab, because we have printed and launched a couple of these already, but the price point definitely started much higher than it is now. We were up around $100 per unit, and as you're looking now, the first perk for this one starts at the $75 level, and that number will continue to come down. And if we do reach our funding goal through this campaign, I believe that we'll be able to continue to push that number down as we bring the 3D printing in-house and continue to improve on the operations of the shipping and handling of things on our end. So as Adam said, it's all about getting more opportunities for people to participate in space exploration, and we think this is a great project to do that.
All right. Well, let's move on to our sponsors. Our very first sponsor is over here getting very excited about Explore Labs. That's my dog, Honey. And while she's not an official, oh, she responded to her name. That's good. Just wanted to let you know how excited she is about all of this. So there is she, and she's hanging out with me today. But also to some of our more formal, I guess you can call them corporate sponsors. We have AGI, Digital Globe, Space Foundation, and Uingu. AGI does some great work with mission-based software, so satellite missions or a variety of other space-related missions. They're probably best known for their software package called Satellite Toolkit, or STK, and that, as you can imagine, does satellite orbits and all sorts of different instrument maneuvers and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in STK or satellite missions, you can actually download a free version of their software online. And then they also do a lot of work with educational organizations, whether it's universities or high schools or even other like after-school programs. Talk to whoever you're involved with on that end, whether it's your school or club or whatever that may be, and you can, through them, get some pretty great discounts on packages to expand on the free version that you're given online. Digital Globe is based here in Colorado, up in Longmont, north of Denver, and they are the world's leader in satellite imagery. We're proud to work with them specifically on our Image Griffin mission. We purchased an image from them as part of our first 3 donated images, and they've provided some great resources to us as well on top of that. So we're very appreciative of them. And if you're familiar with the imagery on Google Maps or Google Earth, much of that is provided from Digital Globe. So you've seen their work probably without even knowing it. And the same goes for a lot of news coverage when you see the map kind of zoom-in view of wherever the disaster or particular story is happening. Much of that is either through Google or directly through Digital Globe. So keep an eye out for that in the future. You might even see their logo somewhere. The Space Foundation does some great educationally based work in the space area. They are based here in Colorado as well, up in Colorado Springs, and not only do they host an annual meeting, which is the biggest in the industry, called the Space Symposium. This past year, or this past, I guess, May, just a few weeks ago, it was the 30th anniversary of that meeting. But they also do a lot of educational work in schools, and they bring field trips to their headquarters to use a variety of their technology. In fact, we are going to work with them coming up soon here in the next few weeks to demonstrate our Explorer Labs and to just teach some kids basic principles of space exploration. So we're excited about that. And then lastly, we have Uingu. They're a great organization that is dedicated to supporting science and specifically space research, and the way that they go about that is they raise money through naming exoplanets and most recently Mars craters. So if you've always wanted to have a planet or a crater named after you or after a loved one or after your favorite character from a movie or whatever it may be, go check out their website, give a $5 or $10 or whatever you can spend to their fund, and at the same time get to name something yourself. And for those of you that might be a little skeptical, since you've seen probably some of those star naming scams in the past, this is totally legit. In fact, Uingu is working with specific space exploration organizations like Mars One to establish their naming list and their naming convention to be that which is used in future Mars missions and exoplanet discovery missions and those sorts of things. So rest assured that what you're paying for is something that is going to last and is going to be used, going to be recognized for years to come. So let's move on to our question and answer session. First off, we always like to ask you some questions. First off, are you going to support the Kickstarter campaign for Explore Lab? Secondly, are you to pledge either $7,500 or $200 and get yourself an Explore Lab and maybe one for a student group as well? And then third, what are you going to send up? I mean, it's time now to start thinking about your experiment and even start designing it and building it. There's a lot that you can do in that little space, especially with the way that technology is trending towards smaller and smaller electronics and machinery and robotics and all that kind of stuff. So whether it's a microchip or a small robot or an accelerometer or whatever it is that you're going to design, and frankly, it can be something as simple as a piece of food or like a marshmallow or even a seed. Whatever you're interested in, whether it's straight engineering or biology or a variety of the other different sciences, there's a way that you can apply that to this technology, and it's a great, inexpensive way to get to do that kind of research, whether it's for your degree or a project at school or even just for fun. So let us know what you're thinking about. We always like to hear ideas of what experiments people are doing, and we'll be happy to give our feedback. So specifically, post your answers to these questions on the Hangout page, or if you're listening to this after the broadcast, please tweet it using the hashtag SpaceUnited, and we'll be happy to get back to you. So Troy, I know you've already supported the Kickstarter campaign and gotten your Explorer Lab, but have you given any thought to what you're going to send up?
No, I mean, I've given a little bit of thought to it, but I have not yet come up with my experiment. But I did send out an Explorer Lab over the weekend to a student group, I believe in Illinois. So we're hoping to get back some ideas from them, and we're also going to be working on putting together some lesson plans. So if you're an educator, maybe an after-school group or a science class, whatever the case may be, we will be putting out there some thoughts on how you might run a class lesson around this, and how you can get your students involved in EduSpace exploration. So. As you said, though, we are taking questions. If anybody has any questions about our Kickstarter project or Space United or Edge of Space science stuff, you can tweet us at hashtag Space United. You can follow us on Facebook and reach out to us there as well. Lots of ways to get a hold of us, and as Adam said before, you can always contact us through the website at spaceunited.org.
I'd also like to give a quick shout out to our film and video production intern, Aiden McCarthy, and all the great work he's been up to this summer. We have some great videos, including the one on our Explore Lab Kickstarter campaign that he's produced. He also produced a couple different videos just about the organization in general, and we're also very proud to have Jose Hernandez, a shuttle astronaut, on our board of directors, and he's cut some videos recently that we've been putting up a couple different places, just giving his perspective on our organization in general, as well as the Explorer Lab mission specifically. So check those out if you're a video guy or gal. That sounded very old-timey. But if you like watching videos online, and that's the best way for you to kind of understand a cause or an organization or a funny cat or whatever it may be, check out those videos. We're really happy with them and with Aiden's work, and we're excited to get more stuff out there so that you can see what we're up to. So with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. Before I do, let me just do a quick check in our question area. Troy, do you have Twitter up, or?
I do. I don't see any questions in from there. I did see that Jose Hernandez did tweet about our project earlier, and as you mentioned, he's been a big help in getting the word out. There's a video on the Kickstarter updates that he recorded just giving, showing his support for that. Andy also was interviewed earlier this week by Denver 9 News station, and that interview should probably be airing sometime next week. So if you want to learn more about Space United and the projects that we're doing, and you live in the Denver metro area, you should be able to catch us on the news next week.
Great. And that's a great reminder as one last thing. If you write a blog or host a podcast of your own, or do a show or whatever it may be, we're happy to talk about what we do and to add our insight to your conference or to your program, whatever it may be. We've done that in the past, and we feel like it's a great way to connect with your community as well as our community and see if there's overlap between the two, and to just kind of participate in the discussion of where space exploration is going, as well as humanitarian work and what we can do to help. So with that, we appreciate you guys listening, whether it's live or on the video or audio podcast, on YouTube, as well as iTunes and Stitcher, to get weekly reminders or weekly podcasts that come straight to your inbox. And we will talk next time. For Troy and the rest of us here at Space United, I am Adam Brinckerhoff, and keep exploring for good, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.